please stop saying that Blaire White has internalized transphobia, because for this one, oh, it's very much externalized.
Did you know, however, there is a gender identity that is linked to the seasons? This is called gender season.
It's not to bash the short kings, because y'all need love, y'all deserve love. However, I do regret to inform you, in particular Ben Shapiro here, is not going to be defeating the widely adored angry midget accusations. J.K. Rowling says she would happily do prison time over her transgender views. And it's really sick that in the UK, it's not as if that's off the table.
Why do white people adopt black children? It's a real question for me. Why do white people adopt black?
Why are there so many black kids that need to be adopted? Welcome back to the Blaire White Project podcast, ladies and gentlemen, they, thems, demons, troglodytes, dusties, and or general cave people. Now, I address all of y'all in one fell swoop because just in the same way that the boys and girls of the Blaire White Army, aka my supporters, are going to tune into every video, right, and show love, which, right back at you, I love you. Y'all are going to be there too, right? The ops are going to tune in to each and every video as well. In fact, they probably have notifications on, which everyone should, but they definitely do, right? And how do I know that? Because one of the articles we have to cover today in the long list of news articles is about me. Fascinating. Genuinely interesting that y'all think you could do any sort of damage, right? But we're going to go ahead and address that. We're also going to address some J.K. Rowling news because just like me, they can't stop nipping at her feet, right? Like they will not stop messing with mother. And I consider her mother, so I'm going to defend her. We also have some Chris Cuomo news. Let's just jump in because we got a lot to talk about. So first up is this adorable attempted hit piece by Pink News against me. I say attempted because it was most definitely, a swing and miss. It was most definitely a flop. She came out dry, hitting on nothing. But they tried. First of all, interesting, Pink News. I wouldn't really call what y'all do news, which if you don't know, this is a LGBT news website, which apparently is in the business of spending its time bashing LGBT people that they don't have the same opinions as. Because that's definitely worthy of a hit piece. Still waiting on that Jessica and Eve hit piece. That Jeffrey Marsh hit piece.
I would like to see it.
In fact, I remember years ago when the Jessica and Eve saga was, unfolding in the very chaotic way it was, right?
Blaire,
What?
I don't need to be scared of my own house that I'm gonna get fucking attacked, which is illegal in Canada. Just saying. But
Do you think that was cute? Was that a moment for you?
no, that wasn't a moment for me. But what I'm gonna say here is it's real.
They were defending Jessica and Eve over me. They were bashing me and defending Jessica and Eve, a diddler, in the same article. That shows you their alliance, right? That unholy alliance, that unnatural addiction to looking like a piece of shit publicly. That's what Pink News does, right? So this is an article just going over the same 7 talking points. Oh, Blaire has internalized transphobia. First of all, for a lot of you hoes, it's definitely externalized. I'm definitely letting it out for some of you. So no need to call it internalized anymore. It's most definitely, externalizing. It's all the same 7 bullshit talking points people have about me that they've had since the beginning, right? They don't even change them up. It's things taken out of context, people mad about jokes, which, PSA, for the LGBT community, if y'all can take a dick, you can take a joke. Just saying. And you would assume looking at the comments that, whoever reads Pink News, first of all, that's probably no one, right? But whoever is, you would think maybe would be attacking me in the comments too, joining in. But this is how you know the tide's turning. Here are the comments. Blaire White is a leading voice for transsexuals speaking out about trans queer ideology. Your organization, Pink News, pushes ideology which comes at the expense of transsexuals trying to live our lives. True. I'd rather chew glass than waste 2 minutes of my time reading anything written by the retards at your company. She got a rainbow flag in her bio, so not exactly the kind of person you think would side with Blaire White, but is, right? So just bullshit from a lackluster, third-rate, so-called intellectually dishonest journalist from a magazine that isn't fit for a chicken coop. She ate with that. But let's take a look at this journalist since she brought it up. Emily Maskell. Looking like she orders mayonnaise on just about everything. Extra, right? Big mayonnaise load for this one. Also, she has her pronouns in her bio, which thank God, because who would ever know what to call this person, right? Who would ever know how to refer to Emily if not for those handy dandy pronouns in her bio? Thank God. It was just a mystery before. And I understand, right, that not everyone's going to like me, that I am not someone under any delusion that everyone should or will like me, right? I should know that by now of all people. But it's interesting how I'm always like number one on this hit list, right? I'm always the first person they're going to write a hit piece on when there are so many people that are actually deserving of it, right? Like real controversies, like real like crimes and shit that because they're leftists are not going to get written up about. That's number one. Number two, it's okay. Like I know I'm not for everybody. See, the Blaire White army, Blaire White fans, right? They're on a different vibration. They're on some other shit, if you will. They're on a different type of time. It's a refined taste, really, to, enjoy Blaire White content. It's a, I'm not going to say upper class because please believe we're diverse up in this bitch. We come from all walks of life. However, it is a certain, intelligence level that, someone like Emily Mayonnaise Maskell is not going to quite hit on, and that's okay. But I do beg you, Emily, to put down the crack pipe. Put it down. Set it down. Actually, you know what? She's probably not even a crackhead. Maybe her head's just cracked. I don't know. Because surely there must have been some blunt force trauma to make you believe that you writing a hit piece about a trans creator while under the guise of defending trans people. What was that going to do? What was that going to give? See, there was a time when activism and websites like this actually, did a few things to position themselves in an air of respect. Put themselves on that vibration of like, you shouldn't hate us, right? And now they're repellent. You have The Advocate, right? Another one, a sister site, has definitely also written hit pieces on me. Climate change has a bigger impact on LGBT couples than straight couples. Here's how. Please fill me in if you know of one person who is going to read that article and not like the community just a little bit less. Just a little bit less, because I'm feeling quite homophobic just looking at this. And the word controversial is also quite interesting, right? In description of me. I understand that, Penthouse Magazine did dub me the Queen of Controversy. Catch it. I'm Blaire White. Of course I'm going to remind you I was the first trans woman in Penthouse Magazine. But it's kind of funny because when I think of the controversies that a lot of other YouTubers fall into, it's kind of like, I'm the cleanest one of the clan. Right? You got Colleen Ballinger, diddling kids. You got motherfuckers walking in a forest full of dead people. Yup. Cheating scandals, grooming scandal. Like what exactly? I'm not saying I've never made any mistakes, but if you look at the overwhelming majority of the things I talk about and my content that I make, it's literally like bashing pedos. Trying to expose like predators and diddlers. Like I'm not exactly going to be sorry about that. Anything else that I should be sorry about? You're not going to make me say sorry twice, babe. You get one fucking sorry if I feel like it. Just one. Maybe. Because I don't owe y'all shit. Daily Wire obtains gag order against Candace Owens despite Ben Shapiro wanting debate. That's that short man behavior. I'm sorry. That's that little guy energy. And it's not to bash the short kings because y'all need love. Y'all deserve love. And in fact, I don't exactly have some crazy height preference. However, I do regret to inform you, in particular, Ben Shapiro here is not going to be defeating the widely adored angry midget accusations. He's just not. And y'all know, if you're tapped in, my history with Candace Owens. It's not like me and Candace are besties. Surely not.
Guys, so wanna be here with you too, reminding me why I started banging dudes. This bitch so crazy. This girl is a guy. Guys.
However, this is just pathetic. I mean, just for some more info here, Candace got fired from the Daily Wire. There's this huge beef. And that kind of died down because she's out of the company now and whatever. But while she was, X'd out, she was like, let me debate Ben Shapiro. Let's talk about it on camera. And Ben Shapiro acquired a gag order while she was trying to set up a debate. That's just pathetic. Tell me that you know you're going to lose without telling me you know you're going to lose. And let's just really break it down. I beat Ben Shapiro in a debate, which no one even talks about because it was A, so long ago, and B, people on both sides just don't want to admit it. It's a bit inconvenient. I beat Ben Shapiro in a debate when I was 23 with, by the way, a broken microphone, could barely hear him. I'm adjusting it in the video the whole time. And I was tuning in from the laptop, and he was tuning in from in my studio apartment. He's tuning in from a studio with researchers, and I beat him in a debate.
Meaning that, obviously, in terms of utilitarian effect, you're right. If I were to walk into dinner and try and describe you, you look like a woman. Therefore, to the person there, I wouldn't be trying to explain who you were or your background, because what's the point of that?
So he's definitely not beating Miss Candace in a debate. I have tried to like Ben Shapiro over the years because I have seen value in the fact that he, was a big part of the online right, sort of gaining in popularity. He's done, good content debating college kids, but you got a grown woman in your face and you're not necessarily living up to that, right? And when I say grown, it's because most people are more grown than you. It's just these takes that have made me not like him over time. How he has become a gun grabber when it comes to trans people. Apparently the Second Amendment doesn't apply to trans people.
I'm perfectly fine with banning people who suffer from gender dysphoria from purchasing weapons. That seems to me a pretty significant symptom.
Really interesting. I don't know what kind of conservative is going to fix his mouth, Ben Shapiro, to be on camera saying, yes, the government should decide who is mentally ill enough to not own a gun. Yeah, because that'll never be abused. I'm sure it could never be a slippery slope into believing that being a conservative is a mental illness, or that voting for Trump is a mental illness, right? Or that believing in God is a mental illness, right? How far do you want to take that? Do people with anxiety, which is a mental illness, should they not be able to own guns? People with depression? Pretty sure Steven Crowder has opened up about having anxiety. Should he not be able to have a gun? Because who knows what Steven Crowder might do? I don't know about that. I do know about that. That's stupid and an insane slippery slope. And any conservative worth their salt would not be having any honest conversations right now about how a demographic of people, regardless of how much they have, negative emotions about that demographic, should have their right to the Second Amendment and a firearm taken away from them. And I'm one it's not going to happen with. How he was pro-vaccine, telling people they're dumb if they're not getting the vaccine, as if you have any business telling people what to do with their body. So you're a gun grabber, you're a shot pusher. He did that thing where he was like, oh, I wouldn't be mad if, cities enforced laws about gendered clothing, like women couldn't wear pants and men couldn't wear dresses. Real, genuine fascist shit.
Should wearing dresses and skirts be illegal for men in public? If so, should wearing pants for women be illegal in public? Well, pants not so much, because there is a female version of pants that is nearly indistinguishable in many cases from male pants. But men wearing traditional female clothing in public, I think that there's a case that local communities should be able to stop that. Sure, we have local laws about being naked or indecent exposure, or at least we used to.
So I don't know why when people ask him questions lately, testing his, belief in freedom, he seems to be flopping so hard, because this is America, motherfucker. Ding dong. Can we put the photo on the screen of Ben Shapiro wearing skinny jeans? Because I'm pretty sure he got dragged for that a few weeks ago. He was in a picture with Jordan Peterson wearing straight up girls' skinny jeans, but also talking about the police should be able to enforce clothing on people. Ben, get fucked. And it's just I don't know. I can't really get down with him. It's most definitely a punk ass bitch move to go at someone, and then when they want to debate on camera and have their fair one, it's a gag order, illegal, you can't talk about me anymore. That's pathetic. And it shows that your debate skills really only, hold the flame when it's against college students and just dumbass commied out kids. And Candace Owens would have wiped the floor with your ass. It is what it is. I ain't gotta like her. I ain't gotta be cool with her. She would have wiped the floor with you. So let me give you some real information, Ben Shapiro. You are a gun grabber, a shot pusher, a coward. You are not a master debater. You're a masturbator. Stop me, bitch. J.K. Rowling says she would happily do prison time over her transgender views.
Author J.K. Rowling is daring police in Scotland to arrest her for misgendering trans people after a new hate crime law took effect on Monday. She posted on X, quote, I'm currently out of the country, but if what I've written here qualifies as an offense under the terms of the new act, I look forward to being arrested when I return to the birthplace of the Scottish Enlightenment.
And it's really sick that in the UK, it's not as if that's off the table, right? They literally don't have free speech in the UK. Did y'all know? This is just so lived out. You got to have a license to even watch TV in the UK. The government has to keep tabs on who owns a TV in there. And I'm not saying we're not under our own kind of like surveillance state here in the US, but my God, they have billboards talking about, we see you if you don't have a license for your TV. Like real lived out, real hot girl commie shit. Really scary. And I have to say, it upsets me on a different kind of level when J.K. Rowling is being lambasted and roasted and attacked, and, you know, her character's being degraded in the way that it is, because I actually grew up on J.K. Rowling's work, right? Like so many people, obviously, it sounds monotonous, sounds redundant, that a lot of us grew up on Harry Potter, but I really grew up on Harry Potter. Like, y'all know I didn't have the best childhood. It was quite dark. And so I latched onto that book series quite hard. I read every book at an age where I shouldn't have even been able to read those books, right? As in, like, I think I was like in first grade pushing through the Goblet of Fire. And, you know, it was like an escape thing for me. I would do it at recess, didn't have any friends, escaping my family dynamics, whatever. And it's a beautiful story. I don't care how corny it sounds. I don't care how millennial core she's sounding right now. She is a millennial. Hi. That's the OB, the old bitch in me. And I wouldn't want to be younger because Gen Z is attacking her.
J.K. Rowling is a Holocaust denier.
I don't understand how people can still deny that she's transphobic.
And you have to be a specific level of demented to even get her to be criticizing your like group. You know what I mean? It's like, this is the woman that made Dumbledore gay retroactively, just to, you know, throw the libs a bone. Rough. She's the one who made Hermione black in the plays retroactively. Again, throwing that bone for those libs. Rough. And so the idea that like this is some far right Nazi is just crazy, right? So for her to identify there's an issue with, you know, the trans community and how we have to fix this, recalibrate here, you know, she's telling the truth. How she's all of a sudden a Nazi and just in this one particular area. Right. Sure. But the thing that she's getting so much heat for today, this week, is a tweet about Mother's Day that apparently was just so off the wall, off the chain, and, you know, nasty, but it really wasn't. She tweeted, "Happy Birthing Parent Day to all those whose large gametes were fertilized, resulting in small humans whose sex was assigned by doctors making mostly lucky guesses." And I think that's funny because that really does put it right, the pin right on it, about how stupid this shit is, that the way in which trans activism has manifested today, in today's climate, forces you to rewrite basic truths, lie about basic truths, undo basic, longly held known information about gender assigned at birth, about what is a mother, what is a woman. Like, that's how you know it's all wrong. And I will always support J.K. Rowling. I don't even care if she really has any sort of resentment for me as a trans person in her heart at all, because at this point, things have gotten so out of control that can you honestly say that people don't have some sort of justification to have negative feelings towards the trans community? Raise your hand if you've never had like a negative thought, and then raise your hand if you've ever been real enough to express that thought. It's a lot less hands, right? Most people can't just speak how they feel. But what I'm not down for is attacking people for expressing their real thoughts. Y'all go on and on about how celebrities are fake and full of shit and, you know, so controlled by their teams and PR. But one comes along and is keeping it real, and then y'all want to fold. Then it's not about keeping it real, right? It's about regurgitating your bullshit opinions. But what if she doesn't have them? She has to lie? Or keep her mouth shut? Oh, no, wait. If she keeps her mouth shut, then silence is violence. Some of y'all need to be smacked. I'm going to keep it so real. If you're one of these silence is violence ass hoes, you probably need to be smacked so you can see what real violence is. And the most annoying part about this is like, it's not as if the trans community is beating this sort of like, you know, joke or accusation that they're taking Mother's Day out of proportion or like shitting on Mother's Day, because they were. Longing for maternal acceptance, trans women's Mother's Day emotions, an article about how trans women, you know, need to be identified as a mom and how that's an identity that they're lacking. And I just find that so disgusting, because to me, there's nothing more pure, nothing more sacred than a mother and motherhood. And granted, not everyone's blessed with a good mom out there. Not everyone feels the same way about their moms, but there was a time pretty recently that society had a consensus that like, we just respect moms. That's why your mama jokes are the kind that get people like shot and killed. Like, your mom jokes are not cool because people generally respect moms.
Mother's Day is tomorrow. As a trans person, as a trans woman, which one do I celebrate? Father's Day rolled around. I don't feel like a father. Mother's Day is tomorrow. I feel like a mom, but who celebrates me? It actually bothers me a lot. I didn't think about that till today, and I don't know.
This Mother's Day is especially significant for me because it's the first Mother's Day that I am celebrating since coming out as trans and starting HRT. So it's kind of special. At church this Sunday morning, they gave all the moms carnations and letters saying Happy Mother's Day, and I was happy to be a recipient of one of those. I took it home and showed my daughter, and who is 8, and she said, "But you're not a mom." I said, "Well, yes, I am." And she said, "No, you're not." And the reason she said that is because my wife doesn't allow her to call me mom. I'm known as parent. So not dad, not mom, just parent, which seems kind of, makes me sad. I wish she would call me mom, but she doesn't. So I said to her, well, I'm a mom, whether you acknowledge that or not.
And yet it's just not true. It's just not true. How dare you even take her dad away from her? This is one of the things that I do fuck with Caitlyn Jenner about, like in a good way. I fuck with it. I appreciate the fact that she allows and encourages her children to call her dad still. Like, to me, how dare you take that word away from them? How dare you lie to your own child like that? Imagine the trauma. And this is a really unspoken of thing that I think in future years, we're going to have a lot more people talking honestly about this, like the trauma of having your dad transition, which, I'm sorry, just calling it like I see it. Whenever a dad transitions, right, like has a whole wife and kids, you're the ultimate failure in life. You're revoking a promise to be a husband and a father. That's like deadbeat dad on steroids. It's almost worse. It's like at least a deadbeat dad that leaves his family. You can kind of, at some point work through that trauma and understand like, wow, like they're a deadbeat dad. They left their responsibilities, whatever. But you're still in their face, gaslighting your child and still lying and trying to lie. And what's especially foul is the trans women who have kids as a dad half of their life and then transition to a woman and expect them to switch to mom. I just think that's quite vile. One thing about me, I have nieces and nephews. They're going to call me Uncle Babe if they want to. Usually they just stick with Blaire. But like when they say uncle, or even when they say like my birth name, I don't imagine the kind of person you'd have to be to even have an issue with that. With a child's referring to you as the thing that they knew you as and that they, loved you as and whatever. Like that to me is ultimate narcissism. And you have trans women, mothers. You could never be mother. Making TikToks. It's like, even if you're the kind of person that needs every person to view you as a woman when you're trans, in what world can't you make one exemption for your child? To not take that from them. I mean, it's so sick to me. And this is one of the reasons why, I go back and forth on if I ever want to have kids, right? Like, first of all, it would be through adoption because I think that, I've met so many orphans in my life and like, I just feel like adoption, if you are, a gay person or a trans person who can't reproduce, that's the most ethical way to go about it because you're helping someone who would otherwise have no family. And from the orphans I've observed in my life, just about the worst thing that could happen to you is having no family, right? Like I sometimes get caught up on how maybe I didn't come from the best family, right? Because I really did not. But from what I can see and from what I've experienced with other people, just about the only thing worse than having a bad family is having no family. And so, I'm just not personally down with the surrogate. Like, I'm not going to pay someone to give me their baby fresh out the womb. Like, oh my God, let me steal your baby. I think that's kind of fucked. Also, I don't care to go through any IVF and have to detransition just to have a baby. So it's not going to happen. But anyways, that was a bit of a tangent. But the point is, you're not a mom, never going to be. Done. Trans people need to learn that you hold a third sort of place in society, right? Now, don't get it twisted, Rapunzel. It's not as if you're a third gender, you're not a third species, but you're holding a position in society that is different. It's a third category of people, really. You have men, women, and then if you actually transition, I mean, this though, you still have a mustache and a goatee. And how are you going to look your daughter in the face with a mustache and a goatee and say, call me mother? It's not giving mother. But, you know, if you're a trans person who really transitions, you're holding a place in society that is different than women. It's different than men, too. I don't think there's anyone who would honestly say to my face, I'm holding the same, like, social status in my real life, not just on twitter.com, but in real life as a man. I mean, that's just ignorant as hell. I don't walk through the world, people seeing me as a man. People don't treat me as a man. Even when they know I'm trans in real life, they're not treating me like a man. So it is a different category. However, it's not the same as a woman either. And y'all keep trying to put these, you know, squares in these circle holes and vice versa, rather than saying, you know what, maybe I'm not a square or a circle hole, I'm a triangle. And it's okay if I'm holding a different place. And it's okay with whatever my kid wants to, you know, call me, because this is a complicated, messy issue. But no, your narcissism comes first. Right, Dad? Right? That narcissist dad? Chris Cuomo brutally mocked for taking a U-turn on antiviral drug ivermectin. He's such a hypocrite. In his latest appearance on the Patrick Bet-David's podcast, Chris Cuomo revealed that he frequently takes ivermectin to treat his long-term conditions of COVID. Now, Chris Cuomo is what I would call a rat, a straight rodent, right? Straight gutter beast. And that's me being nice, because for me, you were part of that satanic, possibly literally satanic coalition during COVID that was on TV every day with the sole intent of fear-mongering the common man, pushing the common man to inject his or her body with something that they didn't know what it was, they were unsure about, pressuring people to make decisions about their health, their businesses, and their lives. You were part of that coalition of people that said, oh, you can't say bye to your grandmother in the nursing home. You were part of that coalition that said, oh, it doesn't matter if kids don't get it. You got to be double masked outside at elementary school if we even open the schools. You're the fucking devil, Chris Cuomo. You're the fucking devil. And I don't respect anyone trying to repair their public image 4 years after COVID and saying, oh my God, we got bad information. No. You disseminated false information knowingly, I'm sure. And you either just took the paycheck, right? Just held it all in and took that paycheck up the ass, or you lied. And neither of those two are things that I would personally respect or that I would deem, you know, noble or a positive character attribute at all. So let's see what this skittle diddle has to say.
I'll tell you something else that's going to get you a lot of hits. I am taking a, what do they call it? Like a regular dose, you know, whatever. They're trying to build up of ivermectin. Ivermectin was a boogeyman early on in COVID.
You couldn't talk about it.
You made it that.
That was wrong. We were given bad information about ivermectin. The real question is why? Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right. But that's not what matters. What matters.
You see that punk ass lived out instinct to like him even saying the words Joe Rogan was right. His little brain, little chipmunk brain malfunction. He said Joe Rogan was right. No. Okay. Yeah, he was right. But it's like, if you're going to own up to your shit and take that L, just take the L. Stop fighting it. Let it in. Spread them. Relax that sphincter and take it like a fucking man. The same way you wanted everyone else to take anything you had to give them during COVID, right? Any of the bad information, which led to unspoken of, like, you can't even calculate how much damage this man did during COVID. You can't. And now he's here trying to repair his image.
Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right. But that's not what matters. What matters is the entire clinical community knew that ivermectin couldn't hurt you. They knew it, Patrick.
Here's the thing, though. If you were a person who had any level of intelligence, you were able to literally just look at, do a minimal amount of research. We're talking like first page of Google type shit to see that ivermectin was not a horse tranquilizer, a horse drug, which they used to. That was the thing. Oh, don't take it. It's for horse, you know, it's for horses, it's for animals, not even for people. That was such a blatant lie. It's been prescribed to people since the beginning of its invention. And yet you couldn't figure that out for yourself. You had to go on CNN lie about it, or just do such a lack of research.
People who are injecting drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to.
Oh my God.
What person? You talk about cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves. No one has to shame them. They're shaming themselves.
No, they need to be shamed.
Yeah.
They need to be called out and shamed, brother.
I am taking ivermectin.
CNN, when they were playing it on their network, edited Joe Rogan's face. There's Rogan on the left in the video that CNN kind of filtered and edited to make him look more white, look more pale, look more sick. And there's him on the right, the actual Instagram photo. I mean, there's the edited version right there. Does it not look like they edited the video to make him look more sick?
Everyone's going to say Joe Rogan was right. No, Joe Rogan was saying, yeah, he was right.
That you couldn't find out that basic information that it was not a animal drug. And you let people who could have lived. Because as much as I focus on the tyranny of COVID, which I'll never stop talking about it, commies, there were also people that died from COVID. And there are also people that, still have symptoms from COVID. And they could have been helped by this. And you, demon, chose to lie or not care enough during such a critical time to do any amount of research. And it's quite pathetic because my tranny ass was doing research. I knew many people that were taking ivermectin in real life during COVID, and it helped them immensely. And people like you decided that wasn't good enough for the masses. You're evil. You're a straight evil human being. And I use the word human being lightly. You're a worm, a snake. You say whatever you have to say to get in where you can fit in, right? Slither your ass in. So now you want to make the rounds on the Patrick Bet David podcast and all the internet stuff because CNN kicked your ass to the curb. Pathetic. But Chris is not the only one doing this, right? A lot of people are now trying to have the conversations about how they were duped during COVID when in reality, a lot of them were just scared, right? So if you didn't see the blatant tyranny, the blatant lies, deceptions, and global psyop that was happening during COVID, right? That big experiment they ran on us in 2020, for which you got to be really dumb to not understand it was a big experiment, right? Can we at least get on that same page, please? There's only a few reasons why someone wouldn't have been speaking out against that or seeing it, right? So number one is you were really dumb. You were straight dumb, for which you don't get a pass for that from me because you were dumb, right? So you're in the dumb basket. You were lying, so you definitely don't get a pass. You're a fucking liar. Or you were really young and you're new to this world, right? We're talking younger Gen Zs. We're talking, kids who, of course, were born into this world. And why wouldn't they trust that the adults and the governments and the powers that be have their best interests in mind? But if you've been alive longer than 20 years and didn't see there was something deeply insidious, something really terrifying happening during COVID, I don't know what to tell you. I don't forgive you because I don't like dumb people. I don't like liars. And I definitely don't respect troglodytes like Chris here, who was ousted from the big table and now wants to join a bunch of smaller tables to, really come clean about everything that went wrong during COVID. And he was duped too, right? Right. Oh God, it's that time again. Reacting to woke TikToks.
Being misgendered can be an incredibly painful experience. It's your mindset the world places at your doesn't change.
I'm gonna get banned from Disney. I swear, we're about to get banned from Disney. Last summer, I got my cake pops removed, and the plan up until recently was to get my marshmallow wand reconfigured into a marshmallow tunnel. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago, I noticed some hair regrowth on my marshmallow wand. That's bad because the outside of the wand is what becomes the inside of the tunnel. So you don't want hair growing there, or else it's very uncomfortable.
You're uncomfortable? What about those families around you?
Imagine how tired we are. Imagine how tired we are of it.
Chilling at Disney, thinking they're having a remotely, wholesome day here. And you're up here with those Benjamin Franklin curls talking about your dick and or cutting it off. I mean, that's just beyond. That's just sick. The level of disease that this person continues to reach new levels of. Anyone who loves this person, for anyone who can find one little redeeming quality in this person's real life, acquaintances, family, friends, please get them some goddamn help. Lily here is batshit. Lily here doesn't know where he's coming or going, right? It's just, I also cannot stand how they use this infantilizing, language to talk about stuff that is obviously so graphic, so adult, so like not kid friendly. Marshmallow tunnel. You're a sick bitch. And on one hand, I guess you could say that he's censoring his language because there's kids around. You don't want to talk like that around kids. But my whole thing is, why would that pop in your head to make content about when you're around kids at all? Like, why would that, and where does that come from in your little brain? Oh, I'm at Disneyland. It's a bunch of kids. Let me talk about cutting off my dick. Like, you are a public nuisance. And like I said earlier, please stop saying that Blaire White has internalized transphobia, because for this one, it's very much externalized.
Did you know, however, there is a gender identity that is linked to the seasons? This is called gender season. And this is a gender identity I've only just learnt about. It's a micro identity. It's not an identity that I have ever heard discussed before. It's a new one for me. Gender season is an individual who explores their gender identity in relation to a season or all the seasons. So this might be somebody whose gender expression and identity is linked to one season. So for example, winter. Or this might be somebody whose gender identity and expression changes depending on the season.
Is it linked to the seasons, or is it linked to brain rot, sis? That brain rot? That slow but steady dwindling of your brain cells by trying this hard to find a place in the world. I mean, you're getting fried, right? You're getting fried on that journey. And I'm starting to wonder, has AI just taken over? Like, are these real people? Or is this a demonic AI creation? I mean, she literally looks like the meme, that meme that's like, you're about to hear the worst opinion you've ever heard. Yeah, I think you're the bitch from the meme, girl. Baby, you got to stop. You're fried. You're fried. You got to stop treating, all of y'all got to stop treating gender like it's a goddamn merch drop. Y'all are dropping this shit like somebody's buying it. Like it pays your bills. And I know you're unemployed. That I know for a fact, that this is not a bitch who has a job. This is a specific psychosis. I can't put a name on it. I'm not a therapist. However, you don't got to go to school to see something crazy. This is the kind of bitch, a laugh away from a tear. She's going to snap. She's going to snap. And it might just be based on whatever season she's in, right? This one's captioned, "This is what punk is about." A year ago, we wrote a song and named it after a governor in Tennessee who was trying to pass laws banning drag shows affecting gender affirming care. We called out several governors by name in the song to spread awareness. Okay, sounds hard, right? Let's see how hard you can get. That needs to be on one of those cringe pages on Instagram that you just can't even get through, like a 7-second video. I mean, that was painful. That hurt. Listen, I know that punk music, just like every other genre, right, has very much been cucked in recent years. However, I'm old enough to remember when punk didn't mean holding every single opinion that the establishment has, sucking that establishment cock, and then spitting it out and saying that it's somehow counterculture. You are not counterculture, babe. You are right in line like a good little boy who's a good twink. You are. Very good twink. And just repeating everything that the Biden administration wants you to repeat. I don't know what kind of world that is punk, but not this planet, baby. Not on this planet. Do you have one opinion that doesn't line up with every celebrity, every college administration, the presidential administration, the news? You a news watcher, baby? Well, you love the news. You know, I also seem to remember a time where punk music actually stomped on diddlers, right? Was very anti-pedo groomer diddler. And yet, here you are, just so up in arms about laws keeping drag shows in over 18 venues, 18 and over venues, that you're going to write a whole punk ass, corny ass, cringe ass song about it, defending their right to perform any kind of way around kids. I mean, that is nuts. Your whole ball sack, which is interesting because you don't have one, but you are one.
Why do white people adopt black children? It's a real question for me. Why do white people adopt black children?
Why are there so many black kids? This is a disgusting video. This is a disgusting video. I cannot believe you have allowed yourself, Miss Girl, to be so neurologically rearranged by the corporate press and by the people that are, betting on you hating other races and tearing everyone apart, right? Splitting the common man into factions that are just like that with each other, that you fixed your crooked mouth to get up on TikTok talking about why do white people adopt black kids, as if it's not a complete blessing that they're adopting kids at all. First of all, the amount of studies that exist that show the trials and tribulations of growing up without a family, right? Without a father, without a mother, without both. Orphans do not have an easy life. And I know this because I have had a few orphan friends in my lifetime. And it's not that I pity them, right? Because they're often very powerful people that are, they've been called upon to pick up the pieces that were broken before they were even around, right? So these are special individuals that when they do rise above are incredibly strong individuals. However, it's not an easy road for them. It's very, very hard. I'm someone who grew up in a not great family, right? Like a lot of bad shit happened in my childhood. Y'all saw the therapy video. However, the only thing that I can observe through other people that seems to be worse than growing up with like a bad family or toxic families is growing up with no family. I had a really close friend, let's just say her name was Jessica. And I used to hang out with her in my early 20s. I'd party with her. And I just learned a lot about her story and about being an orphan. And you can't even imagine how hard it is for these people to come into the world and to not have that unconditional or even conditional love, because even conditional love would be better than them starting with this blank slate of no family, and it's easier for them. So I cannot believe that you are upset about this rather than thankful, saying thank you, white people. You tend to adopt at higher rates statistically than a lot of other races in this country. And so that's actually a positive thing. And so instead of, bashing people constantly of a certain race, maybe giving each other our W's, right? When we have them, maybe having nice things to say, maybe sometimes identifying positive qualities about certain races. What are you mad about? That these orphans are getting families? And let me be very specific when I say the thing that I said about why there's so many black kids that need to be adopted, right? Because I don't care how uncomfortable of a truth it is. I don't care how mad it makes people. We can sit here and talk about, certain L's that white people take all day long. In fact, I do that on my podcast. I'm able to look at certain cultures and races, and there are statistics to back up where there are shortcomings, what we're good at, what we're bad at, right? Fatherlessness is a really, really bad problem in the black community. And it really sets the black community back. And it's very sad. And if you're anyone who has any interest in having a real conversation about helping black people, that needs to be part of it, or you're ignorant and you're not really trying to help, or you're one of these, people who wants to tiptoe around uncomfortable truths rather than confront them and fix them. And you're not helping anybody, right? So there are a lot of black kids that end up in orphanages. And it's very sad. It's very, very sad. And not even just orphanages, because honestly, orphanages are getting, they're almost like extinct. We're talking kids through the system, right? We're talking kids that are put through the system and bouncing around from family to family, never feeling that love. And let's talk about the rates of sexual abuse, of violence, of abuse in general that children in foster families experience, right? Every person I've ever known that's been, involved in the foster system has some trauma from at least one of those families they were bounced around to. So the fact that there are people that are willing, regardless of their race, to jump in and say, you know what, let's make this final, let's adopt this child, let's help them, let's take them out of, this pain that they're in, let's give them a love and a family that they've never known. And you're mad about that. Seek help, bitch.
Sometimes you're just really jealous of white men. They can just walk into any situation and be like, I own this room. I own this country.
What planet are you living on, sir? We just watched another TikTok of white people getting bashed for walking into the room of an orphanage to adopt a baby. So clearly, some rooms are off limits, right? Like, this is that brain rot. To me, this is just a shallow, useless, like, brain dead, like the brain's not braining ass view of how the world works. I mean, and again, so unhelpful, right? Like, I can't wait until people get past this idea that wokeism is actually, you know, a thought process that projects anyone or any group forward. What progress has been made for any group since wokeness has taken foot? And when I say wokeness, I am literally talking about the brand of progressivism, leftism that was born out of the 2010s and beyond. I'm not talking about any movement before that. Who has progressed in the 2010s and beyond? I mean, I really can't. I guess the Me Too movement, you know, despite its excesses, has unearthed a lot of really positive things. But as far as race, as far as LGBT, it's really not the case. It's really not the case. And this is going to be a weird comparison, but like, I'm on some weird shit. I don't care. For me, this reeks of like, you could never imagine the other side because obviously you could never be white, you're Asian. But like, for me, I have come in some regards close to seeing the other side when it comes to transition, because I have been treated like a woman in society, and the overwhelming majority of men and trans women would never actually experience that, right? Like, they don't walk into rooms and people actually perceive them as the gender they want to be, and you can never actually switch. But when people do think you're that, you can see how, you know, the walk of life is different for men and women. And so that's given me such amazing insight into all the takes about women and men and gender that are so one-sided and so built upon this, you know, how the other side lives, right? Like, not fully, don't get fucking mad, but like, in some regards. You could never do that with race, but like, I promise you, this idea that white men can walk into any room and own it. I mean, babe, did they feed you that line? Did that come to you naturally? And if so, what drugs were you on at that time? Let me know.
Hi, my name's Queenie and my pronouns are they, them.
Of course they
when
are.
I post about my gender identity and my sexuality, when I say that I don't want any labels, that is not an invitation for you to speculate on who I am or what I am. It's not a guessing game for you to play over whether I'm a girl or a boy, about what's in my pants, or if I'm pan or bi or trixic or homoflexible or gray romantic.
What the fuck is trixic? Do y'all understand how demented it is that I'm a whole ass tranny and I cannot keep up with these phrases and or words and or labels? And I'm sorry, like, I wish people, especially younger people, and especially, you know, everyone in the younger side of the community knew what it was like to live in that world of like, labels are actually shitty and we don't do labels. Because that was a real movement for a while. Like, my childhood was very much caught up in like, please don't label me. Y'all collect these labels and these mental illnesses like they're Pokemon cards, babe. Like, trixic? You're a trick. Is that what you mean? Because if that's the case, I can run with that. That's what I see. Just looking at a straight trick. I'm sorry. It was a better society in general when people were generally anti-labels, right? Because when you split your identity up into so many like distinct, stupid little categories, most of which are completely made up and unfounded, I mean, you quite literally are dividing your personhood into little small pieces that then get lost and you lose a part of yourself. That's what's happening. This is just a sick, whether they know it or not, way of deconstructing their own personhood. They think they're adding to it. They think they're making it more colorful, right? Look at all my colors. Look at all my labels. Look at all the things that make me who I am. And the only thing that's missing is you. Who are you? Who are you? Because I just watched a 20-second video of you and you're using a lot of adjectives, using a lot of, you know, description words, and yet I still have no idea who you are. Trixie. That's sad. And all these distractions, I hope you get past them one day. I hope you get past the Haley Williams on crack look. And most of all, I hope you get past those goddamn earrings.
Fix yourself and fix your face, okay?
We need to stop saying that white people don't have culture because it actually helps white supremacy.
So you said a lot, but you're kind of missing the entire point of us saying white people don't have a culture. The point of white supremacy is to be cultureless. Yes, and that point you are right, but they did that for a purpose. Whiteness in itself having no culture attached to it is so far what has allowed them to make themselves the default or the standard in many spaces. I tend to look at this through the lens of media.
I like how you just brought up white culture and then automatically with a swiftness, right? Without even thinking about it at all. You make a habit of that, running that mouth without thinking. Equated it to white supremacy. It's like, it's one thing to not understand white culture, for which typically when I don't understand things, I don't fucking talk about them, right? Like, if stay in your wheelhouse, babe. For me, I'm always going to talk about trans shit. I'm always going to talk about woke shit. I'm always going to talk about my experiences and what I see through the world, right? Like, things I understand. You don't understand white culture. That don't mean it's not real, because it most definitely is, right? And you may just be so disengaged from it and disinterested in it. Maybe you don't have white friends. You know you don't. I know you don't. I know you don't. But that doesn't make it not real. I don't know a lot about, what's a culture I don't know a lot about? I don't know. I don't know a lot about Guatemalan culture. And imagine how ignorant I would sound, how stuck on stupid I would sound saying it's not real, because I don't understand it. I mean, that's the height of ignorance. You're just pathetic. There is absolutely white culture. And wait until you hear about how each European country that's white has its own distinct culture. And don't get me started on them braids that y'all think you invented.
I just had a parent ask me my preferred adjectives because she wanted to comment on one of my photos, but she wanted to use words that I liked hearing for myself. That's the kind of allyship that I need. A+.
Ugh. Just nauseating. How are you such a fucking baby? I ain't never seen a baby with a mustache. There is a first for everything, apparently. This is just a level of like, it's the narcissism for me. It's the delusion for me. It's not enough that you have preferred pronouns, right? Which the word preferred would imply you wouldn't shit a chicken over someone not using them, right? And yet you do. So it's really not preferred. So actually, I appreciate the ones that are like, they're not preferred, they're mandatory. We should be honest that you will in fact shit a chicken if people don't use them. But now we're down to adjectives, as if that slippery slope theory is just a fallacy. This is the kind of hoe I'm not going to make a violent threat, because I would never do that. Right? Like, never. But let's just say this is the kind of individual that when I was younger, I would have gotten into a tussle with. Not because of politics, because I was a little more lived out as a teenager. Got over it as an adult, though, because I'm normal. But, you know, just because of that pompous, disgusting, shitty attitude. It would have been a scrap.
Hi, my name is Luce. I'm a trans and polyamorous therapist in Texas, and this is my therapy theme of the week. This week's theme honors Lesbian Visibility Week. As I myself am a trans lesbian, this is what I want to say about lesbians. One of the reasons why I love being a lesbian and I love lesbians is because we get to show the world that it is possible to love outside the dimensions of patriarchy. We, with sapphic love, create an entirely different dimension, an entirely different way of loving people and living, and it's so fucking beautiful. It's as important as the sunshine. The world is a better place with sapphic love in it.
Imagine going to therapy and you come out more fucked up. That's what would happen. Listen, I've been in some rough places in life where I'm like, bitch, I need a therapist. Hello, please. If I would have got this person, I don't know if I'd still be here. I would have got more fucked up. You're better off talking to God, baby. You are better off talking to any individual. Name one, pick one. About how to improve your mental health than this person. You're better off finding a pet rock and telling them all your grievances, because this bitch is going to fuck you up beyond belief. You're going to enter just a whirlwind of mental illness. This is scary. Whole beard talking about I'm a lesbian. Listen, sir. I was really just hoping and praying during this video that any word you use to describe yourself was going to be accurate in any way, because lesbian ain't hitting. Therapist ain't hitting. And I can't even look at this any longer.
Protect our children. language is being used to create a false narrative and drive an anti-LGBTQ plus agenda, specifically from the right. So we at GLAAD have partnered with Protect This Kid in order to flip the script and to change the narrative and to reclaim this language on behalf of the people who actually do need protection right now, which is the LGBTQ plus community. So if you're out there, if you're on social media, if you're seeing this harmful rhetoric, I just want to tell you that you are loved and that we are fighting so hard to protect you and wrap you in a big trans, rainbow, inclusive pride flag. You are perfect exactly the way that you are. You are perfect in your sparkly, beautiful truth. Shine bright like a Frankie. When people throw shade, shine brighter. And when the right throws shade, shine brightest. Oh, grrr.
Imagine saying the words protect the kids. And it's like, for me, when I hear that, I get a basic sort of like upfront frequency of like, okay, we have an objective here, protecting kids. And you just instantly quotations and it's just garbage. And you move on to your narrative, which is your idea of protecting them, cutting their dicks off. That, baby girl, baby boy, baby they, is fucked up. Now, this is Frankie Grande, Ariana Grande's brother, and I'm gonna, from here on out, call him Stanky Grande, because this is just a pile of shit emanating from the screen when I'm looking at this. You are a fool. A straight up fool. I'm not one of these people, right, that's like, oh, if you're not trans, you can't talk about trans issues, right? Like, I believe in everyone's right to speak about this issue. However, I do have a bit of a pet peeve looking at gay men in eyeliner who get up on TikTok and are paid, first of all, to do this and say anything about sex changes and why kids need them, as if you would ever know, as if you are anything other than a gay man in mascara. You don't know what gender transition entails. You never will. And you're a drug addict. Allegedly. That's what I've heard. That's the tea about Stanky Grande all throughout LA. The amount of people that I would know that would just come into, encounter this individual and be like, that's the biggest, like, whatever head I've ever met. Yeah, I mean, you're on drugs now, probably, babe. Allegedly. My conspiracy, allegedly. And I gotta tell you, this is not a good look, so please shut the fuck up. I mean, you literally just got on camera and said, protect the kids. Nah, I'm just playing. Anyways, here's what I was paid by GLAAD to say. Demon.
I went to Target to get some alcohol because it's Friday, but I don't have the money to pay for the alcohol. So guess what I did? I was just gonna take it. I mean, it's free, right? They put the prices on there, but I think that's just for like if you want to pay. It's not mandatory. I mean, if I did see something that I wanted to buy, like I could have, but I didn't want to. I just wanted the alcohol because I had other plans for the day.
You know what's so sick? Other than her general, aura and or frequency, vibration, energy, is she is operating within the law. She's in California, and you can literally just steal in California now. You can literally just go in, ransack a Target, ransack a Walmart, any store, and as long as it's under like a certain thousands amount of dollars, then you're free to go.
One of the things that is ruining San Francisco and other cities is this limit. You can steal up to $950 of goods and they won't really get you in any trouble. This has created a culture in the Bay Area where people will go rob people's cars, they will go into a store and they will just take items off the shelf and walk out because it's basically legal. If they do happen to get caught, they will just be let out in a few days because our DAs are not prosecuting them.
That is the level of intentional destruction this country is currently going through. That you're a criminal, we let you out of prison. Doesn't matter. Oh, you killed someone, you're out of prison, babe. Oh, you want to steal? No problem. Meanwhile, I remember being a kid, I had hoes following me around Rite Aid because I was stealing little, what's that gloss? The Wet and Wild. I had a shoplifting bone when I was a kid, I gotta say. Not to, rat on myself too hard, but I definitely had that bone in me, and I just couldn't imagine going and stealing $1,000 worth of shit, and that's what y'all do. So unfortunately, this is the policies that do dictate California. So fix that. Stop voting blue. It destroys the country. I lived in California. I lived in a blue city, blue state for years in my whole life. It's an experiment. They intentionally create policies that destroy businesses, hurt people, and they're just figuring out what happens from it. This is an example. Girl, get a fucking job. And with that, it's time for me to sign off of my job, which is calling you busty crusties out. Letting you know about yourselves, because apparently no one loves you enough to tell you. And then y'all want to call me the hater. I am so full of love that I'm here trying to help you, because you can be better. I love you guys. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well as my main channel. Follow me on X and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next episode of the Blaire White Project podcast. Bye, guys.